On today's show is Nicole Hutto. Her retreat, the Revive and Thrive retreat, is happening in November at Imiloa. Nicole's a Reiki master. She teaches the Usui-Tibetan tradition, and she also is a cranial-sacral practitioner and certified yoga teacher. Hi, Nicole. Thanks so much for having a conversation with us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Did I say it right? Usui-Tibetan? Because that is not a practice that I have. I think you've deepened with it, but it's not a practice that I'm familiar with. Did I say it correctly?
Yeah, the Usui-Tibetan.
Usui-Tibetan. And can you tell me a little bit about the practice and the training that was involved with that?
Sure. The Usui-Tibetan is one of the original Reiki teachings. And there's many, many different offshoots of Reiki that has evolved through over the last century. And I'm just very, very fortunate to be in a lineage that's within the top 10 of the original master. So it's an honor to be sharing as a Reiki master to support other Reiki practitioners, attuning them, and then sharing that light and that love and activating healing hands through their students as well. So it's something I've done for 22 years. Yeah.
From the little that I know about you, Nicole Hutto, it seems like you really like to study or like to be close to the origins of the lineages that you share with others. That's a bit of a projection? That's just my sense of you. Is that accurate?
Yeah, Jake, that is accurate. Actually, one of the biggest foundations as a medicine woman that I just had a bald eagle fly across the window, so kind of cool.
What a life you're living, Nicole. What a life you're living.
Yeah, I'm up in the mountains currently in Montana, so close with nature. So I live close with nature, but a big part of my offering and passion in the world is I have been a practitioner of the sacred. So although there's all these titles that you can add to my name, I'm really a practitioner of the sacred, working close with the earth. And most of my students, we practice a non-dogmatic tradition that I learned from the indigenous deep in the Amazon rainforest between Peru and Brazil. And it is a beautiful transformation of living from a state of reciprocity and saying yes and owning the projection. So I love that you used that word, that you're seeing me as a certain way, which actually is a perception of you. So whatever you're picking out and seeing that you like about me is because you're aware, and that's living and thriving within you.
I love this. Thank you so much for reflecting that back and also sharing a little bit about the lineages that you've deepened with. This is so great. This is going to be such a great conversation. Nicole, one of the things that you say is a part of what you do is to spark hope in the hearts of others. When is a time in your life that you felt hopeless, and how did you receive the spark in your own heart to transform it?
Yeah, that's such a great question. So, and it's interesting. I just taught on this. This is a lecture fresh within the past 20 minutes of living in a state of yes, being present and being transparent. So what does it really mean to be transparent for yourself and transparent to others so that they're seeing clearly the message that you are sharing and that also you are processing and seeing and feeling. So I precursor with that because I am very much in the moment of what I'm processing. So I walk my talk. So to be an effective teacher and a leader and a guide in the place of the sacred, we want to be vulnerable and honest with where we are at. So the most recent place of feeling hopeless is a situation that's hitting home with one of my siblings. And because of the current lifestyle that he's chosen to live, it's not congruent to the state of yes, that feeds my soul in a nurturing way. So there was a moment of hopelessness that I felt with him. Am I ever going to have a different relationship with him? Do I push or force something? Is he ready for that? Does he want that? And so going through different tools and expression and being authentic with my other family members, hey, this is how I'm feeling right now. I'm typically not feeling hopeless or helpless, but I do in this situation. I think I need to really let go, or I'm feeling in my heart that I really need to let go of how I'm holding the relationship with my sibling. So I'm not feeling hopeless or helpless anymore. And so then I have many, many different indigenous gifts or tools to be able to do that, whether I call on the lineage, whether I sit with the earth, with an earth mandala, whether I'm using my senses. So that's something I've actually transformed in the last 24 hours of letting that hopeless, helpless go. And most of it is through breathing, Jake. It is, if you can really be aware and honest with what your breath is doing right now, if you're breathing through your whole body, or if it's a shallow breath, you can tune in and really hear, what is it that I'm needing right now? Who do I need around me? Do I need sleep? Do I need to hydrate? Do I need good food? How can I get a different perspective look on feeling this way?
Hmm.
And so shifting that and knowing that it's a choice to shift out of helpless and hopeless, that it won't last forever. It's just a feeling. But if you acknowledge it and feel it, it will shift.
Most people asked that question, if asked that question, would have gone back to their childhood. I love that you went back to what is most recent and most alive for you. I think that says so much about who you are as a medicine person, and it made it real for all of us that I'm sure have had varying degrees of sibling sadness and what to do with it and what to do with it. So I just so appreciate you sharing that. You mentioned that you're in Montana and that you're actually on a break from teaching right now, that you're teaching a group. What are you teaching? What's going on up there? I'm just curious to get a sense of where you're at and what you're doing.
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you, Jake. It's a deep passion of mine. I've been teaching the medicine wheel. It's a 9-month journey, and we go through 4 directions, and we work with different archetypes. You receive different rites from the ancient lineages throughout the South Americas, the Americas. And currently, we are in the North direction, and we are all learning to fly with hummingbird. So we're stepping into the place of the sacred in a different way. So we're tasting timelessness. We're seeing that it's a choice to jump destiny lines and how to do that. They're unraveling their roles right now. So they're identifying roles that they play, different hats that they play that might be outlived and just ready to be let go of. So we do tons of different type of energy tracking. We work with the energy body. So understanding how you're built beyond the physical form, it can be very empowering, and typically is very empowering for people. So they begin to realize that their soul isn't something that's inside of them. It's your body is actually inside your soul. So that takes all these paradigms and these beliefs and these limiting constructs and just busts it up to taste infinity, to taste impossibility, and to watch the miracle, the unique sovereign miracle that you are in this world. And that's unique to everybody. Everyone's going to have a different path and have a different perspective in life. So they're doing big work today. And I love my students. I've been doing this since 2006. I've been teaching the medicine wheel. And there's a lot of, we call them full MESA carriers, because you create your own medicine bundle. So it's very involved. That's why it's a 9-month program. I choose to continue to teach in person. I believe that is something that's becoming a lost art, actually, of being in person doing this type of spiritual work. So we jump through the hoops and obstacles of the inconvenience, and we show up in person together. And we help change reality in the world together by this deep ancient work. Yeah.
You said you said 2 interesting things in your pre-interview with our team, Nicole, that I'd love to ask you about. You said that you live your life through a child's eyes, and that you live your life as a ceremony. What do these 2 things mean to you, and how does it shape the work that you do, including the work you'll be doing while you're at Imiloa?
Life is so precious. It's so sacred. And it's really a miracle that each of us have this expression, these forms, these human forms, to express, to receive, and give love. that in itself is ceremony. That in itself is a blessing that you can never really pick apart or understand mentally, because it's a feeling. It brings things online that create dance, create poetry, uh, creation, passion, joy in life. So to live from a place of sacredness, of ceremony, we want to be able to be free from anything from our past. So that includes even a trauma from childhood. That could be something that happened yesterday. That could be something that happened this morning. We don't want to live from a trauma that is influencing a lower vibration and distracting us from our potential and joy and happiness. So which leads me to, if we choose to see through the eyes of a child, we're always doing something new. And we're always seeing curiosity, and we're never ever judging somebody else or a situation. We're always looking and going, what am I learning from this? What's the gift here? What is the message for me? What is the message going on with the person? I'm going to be curious about that. So with my students, I play with this a lot. They're like, what does that mean, Nicole? Looking through a child's eyes. And it's raining outside. What do we all feel like doing? I really want to get in that puddle. And so to have an adult say they want to go play in the puddle, that's huge. And we burst into action, fly out the door, and all of us are playing in the puddles in the rain. This is childhood behavior. This awakens the senses. This frees any heaviness up of responsibility in the world and trajectory of this is how it is, cause and effect. You have to do it this way. Where if there's play, there's a lot of room for magic. And if we have a life full of magic, there's going to be way more joy, way more happiness, and it's contagious. So it almost just you leading from a place of childhood, playful, not so serious. It gives permission for others to explore that within themselves.
How does understanding our energy anatomy help us understand and support the earth?
That's a very involved question.
Well, it was just interesting when you said, because I'm not sure I fully understand what you mean by energy anatomy. And at the same time, I know how connected to the earth you are. So I was wondering, once we understand one thing, how does it impact our relationship with the earth? What is our energy anatomy? I can start there.
Yeah, so we hear a lot about chakra systems. That's a typical where a lot of people start is learning the 7 main chakra systems of the body, power centers of the body. And each of those power centers, they move like wheels. And they're shaped like a cone. So we have 7 main ones, and they actually plug into the spine, into the nerve endings, into the spinal column. And so those funnels or those wheels that turn, so each chakra is just shaped a little bit differently, and they spin a certain way. When we are working through things or when we're feeling content, they can turn differently. So naturally, we're built to discharge and let go of energy of old stuff. And then naturally, we're built to pull in what nourishes us. So each of these power centers with chakras they resonate to different organs in our body. So if we really think about the laws of physics and how we're built, so that we don't need to go real woo-woo here, because a lot of people can't see this. So this is where a lot of my teaching is experiential. I'll guide you through learning and you feel them and sense them. Then we talk about it mentally. Okay. So the 4 laws of physics, and I'm just going to be really simple about this. I'm not going to go very scientific, but to understand that we have the first level is matter, which would be our physical body, like our cells. Okay. Second level would be the mental and emotional planes. Third level would be that place of the soul, that place where we turn a piece of music on and we're listening to it and it just moves us in a certain way and we begin to dance. This is the creativity. We don't really quite understand it, but it moves us to passion, to play, to experiencing curiosity of life. Then we have the fourth level, which is pure energy. We are taught in most cultures that if we have something happening, we need to address it at the physical level. But guess what, my brothers and sisters, that's not where things were created first. They were created upstream at the pure essence, pure energetic, God source, spirit, the beginning of the river, upstream, pure energy. Then that energy creates a certain vibration of wisdom, which dances at a soul, a magic place. Then from that magic place comes down into a feeling, a sensation, which creates thought, then mental, then creates form.
Wow.
So we're taught to actually heal from matter first, but that's not how we're designed. That's
that is so profound. That is the most profound explanation of the law of attraction. Maybe not the most profound, but an extremely profound explanation of the law of attraction that I think I've ever heard. That is very moving. And I'm so grateful that you shared that, because when people get that, it's hard, because then you need to like really take responsibility for the shit that you're putting out there, and that may have impacted you on the physical form, that and what may be actually running the show is at a much higher level. And just in terms of how you shared it with the spirit realm, that actually may be what's running the show. And then people wonder, well, what's happening? Why is this manifesting on this physical realm? And the way you just explained it, I mean, that is, people should rewind and listen to that, honestly, because that is the key that would unlock so many keys if people can really hear what you just said.
It's Jake, it's fascinating that, because we're so conditioned to create that mental, that second level. So I just honor everybody, especially any schooling or just life in general in any culture. We call ourselves intellectual masters because we try to figure everything out and heal from that mental place. And really, it's so much simpler than that. If we can just allow the mental to rest and to go into these other places, there's so much less effort. We're way more effective with less effort. So that's the goal. If we go all the way upstream to source, and this is through guided meditations, breathing, movement, an active mental mind is lack of movement. So, or breathing, right? So you had asked me a question, how this relates to my connection with the earth. So if we look at Earth, so anybody that's had science classes or just look at Earth, you can look this up anywhere on the internet. The way that the electromagnetic field on the Earth goes through the poles and creates a torus.
A torus? What is that?
Yeah. So a torus it's like a donut that rolls inside of itself.
Okay. I've seen it. I've seen a picture of it. They call it a torus.
Those pie stones that you see people wearing, they had like the hole in the center. So that there's so much symbology around that. The Stargate, the Sun Gate, the center of the galaxy. There's so much symbolism going on in that. And it's a wheel. Okay. It's circular. So the Earth, how it shifts, we hear this shifting of the poles, or it's magnetic. How do we have gravity? Well, the Earth has this radiation belt and goes up through the center of the Earth and up out the poles and back around and creates a magnetic energy field. We have the same thing through individually. Everyone has this through their body. So this is a loaded question because there's so much that happens when you come into this form. What happens with that energy body? The child actually, up to your first 2 years of age, and it can fluctuate, you're sharing that energy body with the mother. That's why it's so important that the mother and child stay together, because they're sharing that same frequency. Okay. As we get older and the body starts to break down and the matter starts to want to recycle back to the earth, that energy body needs to unplug and collapse and go back to where it came from. I'm not going to even pretend to know where it came from is. I'm going to leave that in the magic world. Okay. I don't need to know that. But I do know that our energy system, how we're created, mirrors the earth. So this is the state you've heard me say this, and Imiloa, when they did the initial recording of me, I talked about that. What does that mean, living in a state of reciprocity? That reciprocity is living in a state of yes, that I own my projection of me, and that is what the world, the nature, laws of nature, will mirror back to me. So if I want to be peace, and I am peace within myself, nature will mirror that back to me as peace. So instead of wishing and praying for it, you become that here. That's a law of attraction. Now you're in reciprocity, that state of yes with the earth.
Wow. And I also see now why it was meaningful to you that I own the fact that I was projecting at the beginning of the conversation, because it's all the same, right?
It's all the same.
Yeah.
You got it.
One of the things that I really love about you, and when we first met you at Imiloa, is you definitely walk your walk as much as you talk your talk. You've done solo hikes, you've lived in the Andes and explored Machu Picchu. It's obvious that you're connected so deeply with the earth, even the way that you talk about the resonance and the reciprocity in this conversation. I'm curious, Nicole, what becomes possible for people when they start to really explore this connection?
That's up to the person.
So is what I get out of your retreat up to me?
Absolutely.
What space? So then, I'll go there with you, Nicole Hutto. So then,
okay.
Wait a minute, though. But I'm curious about this. So if it's up to me, which I'll go with you there, I like that. What then is your responsibility for attracting the right people to your retreat? What is your responsibility?
Yeah. My responsibility is to put out the message, those that really, really want to activate their superhuman powers, because we do have them. There's 3 of them. Receive ancient rites from the lineage of earth keepers, of wisdom keepers, Otomosayoks, Pompomosayoks, out of the Andes tradition, guided journeying and meditation. So here's the thing. If you would like and called to work with me, I will guide you to those possibilities. I will guide you through your imagination, through your heart's calling, to what your soul really wants in this life. But it's up to you to see what you see. It's up to you to drink from that nectar. That's not up to me. So I will absolutely bring you into initiations, into the biggest support, the biggest love available to you on this planet, but it's up to you what you do with that. So this is why in a lot of my form of teaching, I have an idea of what we're going to do, but it's up to the group's energetics of where you are and what you are needing. Because in every moment, we are completely different.
Got it. So what have others who have studied with you experienced? How has it touched their lives? Maybe if we could share a bit of that.
Yeah. I've been very fortunate. I just feel so blessed to be connected to everybody I work with in any capacity. That's even meeting somebody and giving them a hug for the first time. I'm just very honored to have that connection. And when like personal session work or class work and learning these tools, especially the medicine wheel, I have a 50% return rate every year on my medicine wheel, because the tools are that in depth. You are always learning, you're always growing. And the international clientele that I'm very fortunate to work with and be connected with, which has been predominantly word of mouth. So this has been word of mouth. Somebody works with me and then it just carries on, and maybe you should work with Nicole Hutto. They're doing incredible things in the world. And most of the students and clients that I continue to see, they are light, they're bright, they're available for their life, they're doing some sort of conscious service work in the world. They know and have an understanding deep in themselves about who they are, and they know that this journey on earth is not about them.
Mm.
They know that they need to nurture themselves. They know how to with all of these tools and this work that we do together. But in the big picture of things, we know that it's not really about us. It's so much bigger than us. So, without, calling some of my students and clients out, I really want to just honor that. Big things, big shifts, big things, to political groups, to teachers working with children, to doctors, to and they're changing their practices. They're changing the way that they see the world because they are growing. So their perception, they're owning their projection of this evolution within themselves, and they're sharing it. And the ripples that are happening out in the world are creating a new world, a reality that is based off of kindness, compassion, love, uh, choosing the infinite possibility of what they can become, or if they haven't even imagined that, sitting in that stillness, breaking free from the grip of time in that place of sacredness, and exploring something new for themselves. Every time you do that through a child's eyes, however you want to say that, it promotes and supports a different direction or trajectory of your destiny. Then that ripples out to other people. So I've been practicing and have for over 20 years. I've had an energy medicine practice, and to support and meet the people where they're at, and support them with tools. And they're to the point of like recreating structure systems for women in Africa. I mean, Jake, I really don't. So much big changes, promoting big things in the world. Yeah.
So for those of you listening, my question to you is this: do you have limiting beliefs that perhaps you haven't been able to fully identify? Maybe fears that are just below the surface that you haven't looked at yet? Are you ready to finally break through? Is this the medicine that you've been looking for? Nicole, I wonder if you could just share a little bit, not every day, but a little bit of detail in terms of what people can expect from your retreat, the daily flow, and what people will gain or learn or experience as part of their time with you at Imiloa.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. The kind of the daily flow that is the intention of that at this time is waking up, collecting together, and having some sort of movement, moving the body, opening the spine, getting ready to be able to sit in a place of being aware of the energy as I guide you through your breath and guide you to open up these different parts of yourself beyond your skin. Okay, so the frequency, the energy that you are. So we'll start the day with a gentle movement, some breathing meditation, some different types of styles of breathing that will support you to calm your nervous system. And there is a reason I picked these dates at the beginning of November, because this is right before we go into a lot of family time, a lot of social time, into the holidays, it's a different type of putting yourself in gear and getting yourself stoked to get all this stuff done. There's just a lot of people. It's an important part of the year for them because they're celebrating whatever holidays they're celebrating. But all this family can be very triggering, and it can bring things up. So I really want to support sharing tools that help with grounding with your breath and knowing where your center is to navigate here, because this is what you're responsible for. You're not responsible for other people's reactions, the state of mind that they're in, their mood. What you are responsible for is this beautiful container of light. And my intention is to support you with tools to be able to navigate and stay grounded, center, and calm, or find your way back to your calm. So this is why it's entitled Revive and Thrive. We revive ourselves so that we can thrive in any environment that we're in, especially with the upcoming holidays.
This is so good. I'm so grateful that you've put this retreat together and that you're doing it at Imiloa, Nicole. I'm really very touched by what occurs to me, or what I heard in the last few moments together in the conversation, is there's this combination of both empirical scientific work that you're merging together with the heart and the earth work that you've done. So for people who are listening, if you want more information, you can go to imiloainstitute.com/Hutto, Hutto, imiloainstitute.com/Hutto. The retreat, as I said in just a moment ago, is November 11th to 16th, 2023. Obviously, a ton of intentionality there by Nicole in terms of her retreat date. So thanks for that intentionality. November 11th to 16th, 2023. Ticket prices start at $4,200, depending on which accommodation you choose to take. So if people want more information, imiloainstitute.com/Hutto. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me.
Oh, Jake, thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor, and it's such a blessing to be at the Imiloa Institute. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much. I'll see you in November. Bye.
Okay, sounds. Bye.